these kids, it's still deadlift, bench press, trend. It's like, that's it. It's like, and it's like, that's a very old school mentality, because I get people almost weekly, how much do you bench? And then when I tell them, listen, I don't do barbell bench. Yeah, I don't do barbell bench. They look at me like I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, why don't you?
I think that's a good note to start the show.
Oh, we started. Okay.
Luckily, well, technically no, but everything has been recorded, so
The whole time.
so let's start talking about your feet. No. All right, guys, Iron Chronicles time. Once again, no pets. I think he's fucking slacking.
I don't think he's slacking. I think that I've taken over. So let's give him a
shit.
little bit of grace.
He's been replaced. Never mind slacking.
Love you, Petty.
Well, you're halfway there in terms of skin color. You're like
On the border.
Yeah, you're on the border.
On the
You're
border of confusion and ambiguity.
Yeah. But today we have another man who you can easily discriminate against for a variety of reasons. But I think the most noticeable is going to be his height. One of our best and oldest friends. Welcome to the show, buddy. It's been a while and we haven't had you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I've been asking.
Which you've actively complained about.
Yeah, I've been asking for a year and a half now to be on the podcast.
Not long enough.
Finally, here I am. But like I've just said, it feels like I'm in the principal's office. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Why?
Can
I
we
feel like that's very psychologically revealing, though. Like, why would this feel like the principal's office?
I don't know, and not because I've ever been in the principal's office. I wouldn't know.
But what makes, is it me that makes you feel like you're in the principal's office, or is it fats, or is it the combination?
Wait.
I'm going to say that it's fats. Let's be honest about
I
it.
don't think it's the two of you, because I've like, fuck you two. I just think it's a new set, because when you go to a principal's office,
Yeah.
it's not a place that you go to regularly, let me put it that way.
Okay.
And when you walk in here, all of a sudden there's like cameras and speakers and it's a new environment. Let me put it that way.
Okay. Fair enough. I'll take that answer.
A fairly intimidating new environment.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
You should introduce this man.
Absolutely. First of all, I just want to give people an idea of what an obnoxiously large human being you are. So a hat doesn't fit into any of our door frames anywhere. So he has to duck to kind of make his way through. So you're just over 2 meters tall.
Yeah, 203.
203.
What is that? 6'8"?
6'8", right? So he's huge, he's large, and he's also got a very big heart. But I think that
Literally.
Yeah, I was going to be like literally or metaphorically. Which one are you talking about?
Okay, both. I'm being kind to you today. But I think what's very interesting about him is that he's like I would describe Gert as like a very multifaceted, layered person. I mean, obviously he's done bodybuilding shows. He is now, following the lifestyle.
Yes, he's done
of a
2 bodybuilding shows. I sometimes forget about that.
Yeah.
When I think about you, I'm like, you've competed once before. But then I remember you've actually competed twice.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
2 shows now.
And I mean, we put him in front of my mom. Do you remember this conversation? I think we should give everybody else an opportunity to guess this too, because we put him in front of my mom and we said, Mom, what do you think Gert does for a living? And her answer was...
Wait a second. This is an opportunity to create engagement for our YouTube channel.
Oh, is it?
So should we reveal what he does, or should we ask the viewers to comment below and tell us what they think he does?
That's actually a good...
I like
And
that
then
one.
you see, I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'm smart.
That's I'm smart.
I know things. So you can definitely say what your mom
Yes.
thought he was.
So,
But then let's like even run a competition,
yes.
right? I'm sure we're doing this now, so I can't really ask them, but I'm sure Heavy Nation would give away like some kind of supplement stack if somebody gets it right, which I don't feel like anybody's going to. You can't know him, fuckers.
Yes,
Yes.
none of
Okay.
our friends can ask
none of the
because
friends can enter,
we're,
sorry.
we're not going to accept
I just want to go
answer.
You have to take into account the tattoos
Yes.
and the piercings, and
Yes.
because it throws people off, I
I
think.
mean, take the look, guys. Look at him. Does he not give
Do I look at the camera?
vibes? Yes.
biker gang.
Biker gang vibes. I mean, my mom said he looks like he's a tow
A
truck
tow truck
driver.
driver. Yes.
So I'm not a tow truck driver.
No, he's not.
So that's one possibility
Yeah,
eliminated.
That's out, yes.
And also, I just want to say to tow truck drivers, we love you, man.
Yeah.
There were no offense meant.
Do all the hard work.
You're doing God's work.
So also the fact is that now we can have an opportunity to have him back for the second podcast, and then we can speak about what his actual profession is.
Everybody's
I
going to
like
be freaking mind blown.
I like this. I like this guessing game.
But so when did we meet?
2018.
2018. Fuck, eh? In some ways, it feels like we haven't been friends that long. Do you know what I mean? Because when you meet somebody and you become friends with them in your adult life,
Yes.
it doesn't feel like such a long time. You always think about your old friends as like friends that you went to high school with or primary school with or whatever the case is. But it's 7 years now. Like we've been friends with Gert for 70% or more like 75, 80% of our entire relationship.
And also, just on that note,
we weren't married when we met him.
Yeah, I was at your wedding. No.
Yeah.
and speaking of marriage,
You were my best man.
Yeah.
Speaking
Yes,
of that, let us break Matt's heart on camera because I think this is the moment I've been waiting for my
Break
whole
my
life.
heart.
So,
Regarding?
did you know who's Gert's best woman at his wedding?
Yes, I do.
It's fine. Please explain your decision.
But you
to
know
the
who his
court
best man
now.
is?
No. There can only be one, and it's
That's
Leo
fucking
and it's me.
that's bullshit.
It's me. Tell them.
That is
Tell
Okay,
bullshit.
so
them.
I'll let them have the fight.
Okay.
But I just said, I can't remember how the conversation started, but she's like, I said, Fats could be my best man, woman.
Yes.
I know how the conversation started. You didn't say that.
I
Fats
said it.
imposed that upon you.
Yeah, basically.
And said, I will be your best woman at the wedding.
And then Fat said that she'll get the suit as well, like a nice corporate
Yes.
female suit. And I said, that would actually be very cool.
With like red lips and like big hair walking
Yes.
down the aisle.
I think it would be cool too. And this is a point, is that I'm not disputing that this should in fact happen.
Also, I just want to say that he allowed me to be his best woman because we are besties.
Yes, exactly.
And we are besties and we love each other. Just like they're besties, we're also besties.
And I wouldn't have it any other way. But that doesn't mean that you get all of it. I can be a best man and you can be a best woman.
I feel like I've earned the title of best woman because I've fought with Gert the most out of all of us.
Do you notice though that I'm not do you notice that I'm not disagreeing with you though? I think that you should do it. I'm just also going to be there as the best man.
No, you can.
Luckily
wait on
we
the
have different
sidelines.
genitalia.
Yeah. Guys, don't fight over me, okay? I'm flattered, but you can have you both standing there in
I would
front.
fight over you. I would definitely fight over you.
You know I'm
Which
fighting.
tells you who should be your best man because
will fight with
I would
me.
fight over you. She just fights with you.
Guys,
Basically, to be entirely fair, there was around about a 2.5 year period of our friendship where it consisted of you coming to our house and then you and Fats fighting with each other while you drank wine and I sat there sober and
Competition.
You were on prep, yeah.
I remember one night where you guys were fighting for so long that I went to the bed, I fell asleep, had a nap, woke up several hours later, came out and you guys were still fighting with each other.
Okay, but can we also just put it out there that we don't fight all the time?
no, we don't.
No,
we don't.
no.
We don't.
There was just a short period.
There was a period where
Yeah.
we were clashing heads. But at the same time, I take pride in our fights because I feel like we are honest with each other.
Yeah, definitely.
To the core.
That's the thing.
We never
Yeah.
have, I always say what's on my mind and God help the world because I don't have a filter and help him because I don't have a filter. But I feel like it's also been
Yeah,
reciprocal.
but if I ever wanted an honest, true, no fuss, no opinion, then I'll definitely, person to come to.
That's why I'm the best woman. Yeah.
Call it that as it is.
Well, I've always viewed it just like a brother-sister
Yes.
relationship. You
Yes.
guys fight like your brother and sister,
Yes, that's a very
100%.
accurate way of putting it.
which is awesome.
Yes.
I feel like I have a lot of people in our group of friends that I consider like sisters, but I've never fought with any of them.
Well, that's because you and I have very different temperaments, my love.
Explain. Actually, wait. You explain.
Yeah.
I think, okay, if I have to explain it that way, I think Matt I always kind of see more as Switzerland. Like Matt's very neutral. Matt,
Logical.
Yeah,
He's
very.
logical.
Yeah, he's logical, but he tries to see both sides
Yes.
to a T.
I do.
Even before, let's say, the argument starts, he weighs up both sides.
I think I'm fair also like
No.
that.
You are fair, but you're also to some degree. I don't want to say temperamental, but you're
Yes, you
Yes.
can
Yeah,
say
I
you
know,
can
I'm
say you can say
fiery.
that.
I'm
Yes, you're
fiery.
fiery.
You can
Yeah.
definitely
and
say
I
that.
think the thing is, with certain things where I can be stubborn is when I'm stubborn about something or really believe in something, I'm fiery.
Yes.
And I think then that's where we clash.
Also, we're both
We're-
fire signs. You're a Leo and I'm an Aries.
they,
and we're just
say,
like,
they say so. I
Well,
don't really follow the
I'm very
side
glad
things,
that you
but
got to that point, because the whole reason why I asked that question is because I wanted to bring up the fact that the reason why you guys fight so much is because your personalities are very fucking similar
no,
Yeah.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
in
Do you
many, many
remember-
ways.
Do you remember that one time we had a wine night and we put on the same song on repeat for like 3 hours while he was on competition
And
mode?
this was
I do
also,
remember that.
and also,
That's
also
so
just
funny.
remember at that time, it wasn't that you had put the same song on repeat. It was that at that time, I did not enjoy that kind of music.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I didn't enjoy that kind of music.
You were
So
still
it was,
only in your death metal phase.
And now he's a DJ playing world music.
Yeah.
there was never a death metal phase. I was always very eclectic in terms of the variety of metal that I listened to. But I don't know. I mean, I think that like metal, if somebody's never heard metal, right?
Yeah.
And the first thing they hear is fucking Cannibal Corpse. It's going to be too much for them
Yes,
to
no, I
fucking
agree.
cognize.
Yes.
And I think in a similar manner with like dance music or electronic music, if you hear, for example, for me, if I hear something that's very straightforward and very plain and very poppy, I'm like, oh, this is EDM, this is dance music, and I think it's shit.
Yes, yeah. Okay, no, I get you.
Whereas
Makes
going to Ultra last year for the first time and experiencing a variety of different genres and seeing what it's like live and all that
Yes, yes.
was a game changer, and it made me realize how similar EDM and metal actually are.
is. Yeah, yeah.
In terms of, so I even got into this debate online with. No, because
Oh,
they were talking about this whole bullshit thing about like Afro House light.
Oh, okay.
You know, like,
heard
you know, Kind of Music are coming here and they're like, Hugo and Kind of Music are Afro House light. They're not real Afro House. And I just referenced my history in metal, where it was like, there are bands and music and musicians that I didn't listen to because it wasn't hardcore enough.
Yeah.
And I was like, getting into a completely new genre of music, the first thing I said is like, I'm not going to get into that value judgment thing. If I like it, and I don't care.
Yes.
And that's always been your approach.
Yeah, but exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But I still, till this day, I take props for getting you into the whole, let's say, EDM scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
It's basically,
so
it's,
you're welcome.
it's you and Velsh that are responsible for that.
Yes.
I'm
You and
living
Velsh
out
are
my
responsible
best
for that.
days because you're here. Because can I just tell you guys what my life was like before this? I'd wake up at 4 a.m. because we were going to gym, and then it was Cannibal Corpse
Yeah.
at 4 a.m. And I was just like,
And you're still
my
just
dude,
trying to survive and get ready.
I'm overstimulated. I can't deal with
Yes,
it.
yes.
And now, like, our house is such a beautiful space because it's always got music that I enjoy in the background
Yes,
because
yeah,
I listen
yeah.
to everything. And I'm just like, okay, this is nice. And I don't have to research songs because the scientist, you know him.
Yeah.
He's researching
Yeah, he goes
everything.
into
He goes
detail.
into detail. He knows when
Dude,
everything is
I
dropping.
go so deep on
Yeah.
stuff. I
What-
go so fucking
What
deep on
launched
stuff.
today?
Side piece, Cash Out.
Cash out. Do you know the song?
Yeah.
Do you know that song?
Yeah. I just heard it once.
They played it.
At
Yeah.
Truth.
We saw it on your guys' stories when you were at Truth after we had left.
Okay, yes,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know. Do you remember who played it? Because at that point it was unreleased.
No, I can't remember.
So whoever played it got it
Yeah.
directly from the artist.
I just remember Truth Carl Cassim was phenomenal. He was
my gosh.
so good.
Bro, can I just
was
tell you
so
something? And I'm pretty sure that Kyle Cassim is never going to hear this or listen to this
I'm going to tag him
unless I
on
make it a
social media.
reel and I tag him in it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
my perception, and again, my perceptions are fucked when it comes to music because of my history, but my perspective was that this guy is like a radio DJ. He plays shitty poppy stuff.
Yeah.
When we were at Truth, which by the way is my first time ever at Truth, holy shit.
he
did that guy bring the
Blew-
heat?
He blew the
did.
house down.
He-
A lot of the DJs there, almost every single one, but Kyle Cassim number one out of all of them, blew the guys that we saw at Ultra out of the water.
Yeah.
Completely.
No, I agree.
Out of the fucking water.
I agree 100%. He was better to me personally. He was better than Ultra.
Same.
He was so much better.
He was so good.
so much
He was
better.
so
And he
good.
read the crowd so well, and he built us up so well.
yes,
And then,
yes,
like, you know, towards the end, there was like a little bit of a chill, and then a build. Like, he was just iconic. Like, I will never skip a Kyle Kassem show.
Dude, and then I went onto Beatport, which is kind of like the music platform for DJs. So it's like all the extended mixes that you can
Okay.
download and stuff like that. And I was looking at Cinnamon, which is his partnership with his brother.
Okay.
Dude, their own tracks are like incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't heard. Yeah.
That is what I love about having gotten into this scene is that
Yes, yeah.
when you're into really any kind of rock music,
Yeah.
you're not going to get anything in South Africa. Like, you know, we got Offspring and Green Day at the beginning of the year.
Yes,
Great.
yeah.
But like, if you're lucky if it's once a year.
yeah, but
Whereas
yes.
our local producers and DJs in the
Mm-hmm.
EDM scene are up there with the best in the
Yes,
world, in my opinion.
Same.
I agree.
And I think they're smashing it. Like, if I look at Correnda Soul, how many times we've been to Correnda
Yeah.
Soul? stuff?
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal. And just
Shimza.
rising. Like,
Shimza.
every single time.
Obviously, Black Coffee, Nora and Pure, just all
Yeah,
of it.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
all of it. Yeah.
All of it. It's fucking phenomenal. And at Truth that night, what I realized, because I was like, okay, our Afro House DJs, Afro Tech DJs are the best in the world, obviously. But then what I realized is that even the techno DJs and the tech house and bass house DJs, they're also fucking
Yeah,
exceptional.
they're very good. They're
South
very
Africa's a talented man. Look at us starting our podcast, doing the things. Like, we know how to do stuff.
But that's actually a thing that I want to get back to because you said that our friendship, even though it's been 7 years, in some ways it almost feels shorter.
Yes.
In some ways it feels longer, but in
Yes.
some
Yes.
ways it feels shorter.
Yes.
But I think why it also maybe feels shorter is that because the three of us have also been through transition phases, each on our own level, our own time. Because if you just look at 7 years ago and where we are now, how many things have changed? We're talking about when it comes to moving, work, relationships.
It's unbelievable, dude.
There's been so much change. And I think every time we also become kind of new people in our own way, individuals in our own way.
I
But
guess
we're
so.
growing together.
Yeah, we're
But
growing together. But yeah,
what's very
also-
special about it is, like, in all of us, and I think this is also in our friendship group now, I can see the progression. Like,
Yes.
there's never like a stagnant, we never stay stuck somewhere for 3 years, or we're not the same person 3 years. I'm not even the same person of a year
Yeah,
ago.
but that's exactly
You
my
know what I
point.
mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
beautiful to have
yeah.
this ever-changing evolution
Yeah.
of us.
Yes.
I mean, I definitely agree. But at the same time, you have evolved tremendously, but you haven't changed the core of who you are as a person.
Yeah, I don't think that's
Don't
possible. For
don't
me
fu-
to
don't
do.
don't
Yeah, yeah.
don't change that
Yeah.
shit.
No,
You know,
no,
that's
I don't
what
think
makes you so.
That's not possible for me.
That's what makes you so unique. But and I think, you know, the transitions that we've gone through and the transformations, you know, that comes with good and it comes with bad. But what I really want to get back to, which is why I'm glad that we're doing this, is, you know, the three of us spending more time together, because I miss that so much.
Yeah.
Wine nights
I
need
was
to
just
make a
gonna say,
comeback. Had.
Another wine night just with less fighting.
Definitely
joking.
no fighting. I think we're
Yeah.
older now and we can speak to each other very nicely.
Yes, yeah.
We were old enough previously, and you still fought.
Yes, but we've evolved.
Okay, we're wiser.
We're
Put it that way.
wiser. And also, I feel like, to be honest with you, look, I don't drink anymore. You know, we barely drink.
Neither do I. Yeah.
But the wine night was the connection.
Yeah.
It was the connection. It was just like having fun and doing, you know, speaking about
Yeah.
everything and throwing all our trauma on the table and laughing about it.
Yeah.
Like, it was that
Yes,
special
yes,
for
yes.
me.
No, but
So-
that's definitely where you and I bonded, definitely as well.
Yes.
Because like I said, you couldn't drink, you were on prep, so the two of us, we had our own party.
But I
It
mean,
was
listen,
so
I engaged in some of those.
I mean, you
but
were
when
a
I was
champion
when
for
I was
hanging in.
involved, you would drink vodka, and we would drink like whiskey
Oh, yes.
or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
We went through a vodka stage,
Yes,
where
yeah.
we would drink like Sprite Zero and vodka,
Yeah.
and then we went through a whiskey stage. But it was only when I was in prep that I wasn't engaging in that. But my God, I'm so glad that we don't drink anymore. It just
No,
it
same.
makes
I
things
hate alcohol.
so much easier. And I also don't know how I legitimately don't know how I could function.
Look, alcohol has its place. Like, let's not
Yeah,
slate it. I mean, obviously, we know we're speaking from a coach's brain now, so we're going to tell you how highly toxic it is for your body, yada, yada, yada. But it does have its place.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going to have an Aperol Spritz at a food market, it's c'est la vie. We're there. Let's do it.
But that was kind of my mindset as well, because last weekend we had Craig and Lan's
Yes.
wedding. And before that, I also haven't really drank in about a year and a half or so.
And then Tequila Kieran showed up.
And then, yes,
and whacked you.
Kieran's a
Oh,
problem.
dude, Kieran is fucking dangerous, bro.
And he's the
Holy
best,
shit.
I'm not going to lie, he was a fun
He's the
problem, but it was a
best.
problem.
Yeah, he's the best.
But I did enjoy having a drink at the wedding. I'm
Yes.
not going to lie.
It's the place.
It's a place.
It's the place,
But
yeah.
also, after the wedding, I was like, okay, I'm good now again for a while. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have to drink again for a while.
It's the next day that I can't deal with. Like, I think when you go through any process of body transformation, which you've been through, I mean, when you go through a bodybuilding prep, there is
Yes,
nothing more hardcore than that. So you become very attuned to your body and how you feel.
Yeah.
And energy, especially I think at our age now, we are trying to maximize our energy and trying to feel good every day and do our best. So when you drink alcohol and you feel that after you know how good it feels to be without it and the clarity that it gives you, then it's kind of like,
And not living your life around it. Like every
Yeah.
weekend, you have to do this now, I have to do that. Another thing that I found after this weekend wedding. So, yes, I had a few drinks. What annoyed me actually was the Monday and even the Tuesday back in gym. It just strength is down a bit. You feel a little dehydrated.
Yes.
And,
You just feel like trash.
yeah, that just annoyed me. Like you pick up the dumbbells you would usually use and you're like, why is this so heavy?
yeah.
I don't like this.
Exactly, dude. That's why. I mean, I think the last time that I drank was in Cape Town. We went on the wine tour,
Yeah.
and that was fun. But it wasn't fun enough to negate how shit I felt for like 2 days after that.
Do you recall that I missed Cunye because we were supposed to go to a music festival
Yeah.
the next
Yeah,
day
you
and I
missed
didn't
it,
go because I was feeling so horrid.
Which probably worked out an advantage to you because you would not
Yeah,
have
in
survived that
retrospect.
festival.
Could you was busy.
I don't like people touching me and I don't like people in my
festivals
space.
should not exist in clubs.
No, I agree, 100%. No,
Especially because Cunha is fucking popular as shit.
Yes, yes,
It's
yes,
so
yes.
popular. How can you have that in a tiny little club, bro?
No, but I've always said, last year at Cunha, I've been to many clubs, many festivals in my life. I have never been to a place that busy in my life.
No, just crazy.
Never.
It was
you couldn't move.
It was anxiety inducing
Yes.
because
No,
there
it
was
was-
no space
yeah.
anywhere.
Fortunately, I'm tall, so my head could stick out.
Yeah, you get oxygen
I
up
could
above.
breathe, but it was rough.
You and TK would not have
No.
You would have
TK
not have existed there.
TK would have thrown hands. You guys know my friend. She would have.
She probably would have. Do you remember those
Elbows
guys
out.
that were doing like weird karate moves?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Again, the
yeah.
reason why I don't like alcohol because there's always the people that are drinking at festivals that are doing stupid
Yes,
shits and
that-
getting
all
into
the-
fights and being sloppy and
Aggressors. And,
yeah,
no, I
yeah.
get you.
And also, I just feel like think about like we don't fight that often, but most of the fights that we've had
Oh, alcohol induced.
is alcohol
there's
induced.
also-
Or hunger induced. Hunger induced is the other one because, like,
Yeah, but
girl
those
gotta
are
eat.
short and snappy and they're over.
Yeah, I know.
The ones that are alcohol induced are like serious, and it's
Yeah.
like, and then the next day you're like, what was I even fucking fighting
Yeah,
about?
yeah. Why was I was so upset? But why?
I don't trust the substance that causes that.
Yes, no, that's
You
fair.
know?
But also, guys, we're getting old now. Like, I don't perceive myself to be like 60 years old drinking wine every day. It's like not my life. Do you know what I mean? As I get older, I'm drinking less and less and less.
Yeah. Do you buy into the narrative that we're getting old though? I don't feel like that means what it used to.
Matt, for me, I actually thought about this the other day. Yes and no.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I don't feel, because I'm, August, so 2 months I'm turning 41.
God, you're old.
Yeah, I know, right?
61.
Sometimes I feel 61. No,
So we wish him happy birthday on social media with always a decade later. So we tell everyone he's
Yeah.
51
Yeah.
on his 41st birthday. It's the funnest day of my life. I love it.
I just yes, fine. 51's fine. No, but I found now ever since I turned 40, and I don't know, maybe it's just a mental thing, but
Yeah.
I still feel young in most ways, you know, and also because we have a friend group where some of them are still 23, you know, our friend group is from 23 to like 47. Or
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a
Yes.
very wide range of age range. But where I do find I'm a bit different is when it comes to gym as well. Like, I don't try to impress anyone anymore. I don't try to lift a stupid amount of weight. If I feel that for example, how can you say, your technique or your posture or whatever isn't what it should be, then I don't do it. You know? So, and there's also sometimes, you wake up and you're like, no, you feel great. I feel 20 again. And my mind feels 20.
Yeah.
But sometimes you'll get out of bed and the knee will just be like, okay, no, you're 40.
My bro, I've seen you at music festivals and you and I are like holding our backs and our knees and we're like, oh.
I am too, bro. Actually, he handles music festivals well.
No, he does. And also
It's me and you that are the old
you
people
two
that
are
are
the back
stretching our
problems.
lower backs. But you see, this is the thing, is that I don't feel any older per se, because I've always had an old person body. I've always had fucked up knees and a fucked up shoulder and fucked up elbows. So nothing has changed. In fact, I feel younger because within the last kind of year and a half, I've never gone out more, partied more, been more social, etc., etc.
Yes.
So in that way, I feel a lot younger.
I think maybe it's the small things, because like I said, physically I still feel good. I feel, obviously now and then it's the knee that gives a problem. So, but generally music festivals and so on, I feel good and I can keep up with the young ones and. But it's sometimes the small things where I laugh, where I'm like, okay, I am getting older. Like last weekend again with the wedding.
Yeah.
So Tien's came to me. 1D has never been at a wedding. Okay, but remember now,
1D has never been at a wedding.
At a wedding. Oh, he said, I can't remember. I've been to maybe one before, or I haven't. That was his words. So
Okay.
I'm quote
That's
one day
some
I'm quoting. Yeah. But then Tien's comes to me. Tien's is also now 24. So he comes to me. He's like, "Gert, have you been to like weddings before?" And I looked at Tien's. I'm like, Tien's, I'm 40. Everybody I know has either been married or has, even
I've been to my wedding before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So we've been to.
Never mind a wedding.
Yeah, I've lost count how many weddings I've been to.
Yeah.
But it's small things like that, because then, I looked at Tien's, I'm like, oh yeah, but he's 24, so he hasn't had that many opportunities.
Yeah, I guess so.
But they're
I
about
guess
to
so.
start their era of weddings.
Yes,
We're getting into funeral era.
They-
Do you
they
guys
are.
realize this? We're getting into funeral era.
But
Like I've passed like going to baby showers now,
Yeah.
and I'm going into funeral era very slowly.
But I feel like based on what Gert has just said and alluded to, that's going to be a fucking mixture of everything, because in our friend group,
they're
we're going to
gonna
have weddings, we're going to have baby showers, we're definitely going to have some funerals, but hopefully not too soon. I think that's more like 20 years from now. Let's hope. So
even
yeah,
longer.
there's going to be lots of weddings, lots of baby showers, lots of all of that shit.
A funeral, I'll go first, so then I don't have to be at yours. That's fine.
We're not
Actually,
gonna
that's
argue
very
this point.
morbid. I don't want to go there.
Yeah,
We're
no,
not
let's
doing
let's
that.
let's,
We're
let's
not
keep
doing
this let's keep this
Yes,
live
but-
hearted.
So speaking of funerals, though, I want to know: are you ever gonna compete again, or are you putting that in your little casket and burying it somewhere?
That's the thing is, short answer, yes. I think
You're
I
going
will.
to?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think I will compete again,
Okay.
but I don't have a right now plan.
Yeah.
Because next year, okay, I can't say it because they still have to guess what I do for a living, so I won't
Okay,
say.
we know there's stuff coming.
There's stuff going on
Yes.
next year, work-wise and so on. It's going to take up a lot of my time. So I don't want to put a date down, but I think I would like it, because the first competition I did, obviously it's your first show, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like, and the second show I did better, but I still had hiccups with my posing and that type of thing. So I think I would just like to do a third time. Then I'll also compete in the Masters, but I'll do a third time and focus more on not just the nutrition, the training, but also the posing. So
The whole package of what
Yes.
bodybuilding is.
yes, so
Yeah.
I think there will be a third show, but whether it's next year or 3 years from now, I don't have a date.
Let me ask why. Because I think you competed the first time probably somewhat at my encouragement.
You definitely pushed me into it. I wanted to do a show because I just feel like if you are in a bodybuilding lifestyle,
Yes,
you have
exactly.
to do at least one show
Just
in
to
your
know.
life, just
Yeah.
to say that you've done it.
Exactly.
So
and know
it's-
whether it's for you.
Yeah,
Like,
so it's always been in my back of my mind to I should do a show, but you definitely pushed me towards actually doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And So I think that would be a really good justification to do it once or twice. Is like, I've been in the fitness world for so long. I've, transformed my body. Let me just see what it's like once to take it to the extreme of that.
Yes.
But being now somebody that's competed a lot, and obviously being a coach and having a lot of people that come to me wanting to compete, my perspective has changed in the sense of like, well, what are you expecting to get out of it? In what way is it gonna benefit you?
Yeah.
And I think, for example, if it's like, well, I need that to get me to that level of execution and that level of body composition, then that's a good reason. Because I know for me, if I didn't have a competition prep, there's no way that I would ever get to like 6% body fat. There's no way that I would do it.
No.
There's no justification for it. So if it's like, let me use this as like a reason or fuel to get to that level, I think that makes sense. But what would you get out of it if you did it again?
For me, the short answer is unfinished business.
Okay.
Because the thing is, I agree. As you guys know, I've never been like our friends, Pet, Tiens, Welch, Wandy, etc. Like they enjoy the competing. They enjoy, and they have admirations of pro cards, etc., which some of them have now already received. That to me was never my thing. I was never concerned about the pro card, or I want to do this for a profession, or whatever the case may be. So it was to challenge myself. But like I said, I just feel a little bit because I didn't. It's not that I didn't put everything into it, because I did put everything into it the last time.
100% you did.
But just all of it. Like I said, the posing, the diet, the tan, just all of it. Just the training. So I think for me it's just like a last hurrah, because I don't want to do 2, 3, 4 more shows. I don't care.
No.
But like maybe one more show just to really focus on everything, the whole package, and then step on stage and be like, okay, now I've done it all.
You've done your best.
Yes,
like you want to say you've done your best.
Yes, I've now done everything, and I'm happy.
But I think what's really crucial is we need to find the right federation for Gert, because I think that's going to be really important. Because Gert is really, as we said, he's very tall, but you're very impressive in that the size that you hold for your level of tallness. I've never seen anyone.
I've never seen another individual in real life that is that tall with that much muscle.
Yes.
Oh, guys, stop. Okay, carry on.
No, but seriously,
I like it.
if you're objective about it, who have you met in real life that is as tall as you with as much muscle as you? You can speak about.
Bash is close. I would say Bash is close. He's a
No,
little
he's not.
bit shorter.
No,
than
he's not.
Gert.
I don't think he's anywhere close to Gert's height. I think he might be like 6'3" or something like that. He's tall.
He's tall,
but he's not. He's not. He's not that tall.
Yeah, not that.
The only people that I know are like
closely.
like Thor Bjornsson or whatever.
Yeah, and that Jan, what's it, Martijn Fort.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
How much do you weigh now?
So my question is, like, how are you not a fucking celebrity, actually?
You know, I was approached the other day in gym about a guy, because
OnlyFans. Okay.
No.
Only feet. Let's tell them about
I'll
the
take photos of
feet.
my feet, and that's fine. No, but I've been approached for commercials in the past, and I was approached at gym the other day about this one guy who has a friend who does like stunt coordination work for movies and stuff, and he said I should give the guy a ring or send a message on Instagram. And I thought about it, but the thing is, in the past, I've just every time, because I've even went for an audition for an advertisement, but
did you?
Yeah,
when was this? Oh no, shit! I remember that.
I remember it's 2-3 years ago.
I remember that. Yes.
Yeah. But every time I went to, it's more of like false promises, or it's, how can I put this? It's a bit of a mess, because every time you go for the audition or you go that, it's like, it's almost like they didn't know what they were doing or where I should go. And I also just, as you guys know, I'm kind of a plain and simple guy. So I'm also don't really put myself out there for TV work or whatever. So
I'm in more like a social media celebrity.
No,
I just feel like you could do anything and gain traction on social media just because you're a freak in a nice way, in the best possible way.
Think about the experience of walking with Gert in public. Like when I'm with him, First of all, kids look up to him like, oh my, you know how we used to look at the gladiators back in the day? It was
Yes,
like,
yes.
And he's
you
bigger
look
than
like
those
a
fuckers.
gladiator,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So first of all, kids are like, oh my gosh.
He
or
looks
they
like
think
2
he's-
gladiators put together.
Or they think he's a rugby player.
Yeah.
That's also the other obvious one. But people think you're famous already because they're asking you to take pictures.
They do.
and-
And even at festivals, I do get a lot of people that approach me and they're like, "Are you famous?" And I'm like, "No,
No.
I'm just an average Joe."
Bro,
Can I tell that story about that tunny that
I was
asked
just
you?
going to say, one of the most insane things that I've seen was Ultra last year when that old woman came to you and said, what did she say? She's like,
she asked,
how much
can I lift?
How much can you lift? And you're like, in what lift?
Yeah,
like in
like,
what
what
like
do
the
you
bench
mean?
press,
Yes.
the deadlift, whatever. She was like, can you pick me up? And you were like, probably. And she's like, okay, please pick me up. So you did.
Yeah.
And then she had her husband take pictures of it.
Yes.
Which I was like, that you got cucked, my friend.
So
Like
I
big-
was,
big
I
time.
was holding her as you would hold the bride when you walk into your house, you know,
Yeah.
the first time.
And
So-
she also, when you were holding her,
that-
because of how tall you are, you were holding
Yes.
her very high
Yeah.
versus where the rest
So
of
now
our heads
I'm
were.
holding
Her husband's balls just retracted right into his body.
Yeah.
Like
It was funny though because I didn't see the husband originally.
Yes.
So I picked her up.
Exactly.
And she's like, "No, husband, that's my husband. He'll take the photos." I was like, okay, hi." Like, this is weird, but okay.
That's my
Bro,
favorite thing about
if
Kat.
that's
That
approached some random at a festival and asked him to pick her up and asked me to take pictures of it, I'd be like, bye.
but even at Ultra, now the last Ultra we went to,
Yeah.
I laughed because Lorca went with me, and also again a lot of people just stopped me and started talking to me, and
Yeah.
and she teased. She was just, oh bless her heart, made a joke. She's like, "I'm also here. Can I get attention?" and I just
fair.
and I just said, "Listen, you get used to it."
That's the funny thing is like if you think about it, every time we go out, we're going out in a group of bodybuilders, some
Yes.
of which are pro bodybuilders,
Yeah.
some of which are imminently going to be pro bodybuilders.
Yes.
So if you were not there would be like 5, 6, 7 other guys that everyone would be like, holy shit, those
Yeah,
guys are
but
jacked, big,
true,
whatever.
yeah.
But in a group of very high level, national level bodybuilders and pro level bodybuilders, you're the one that gets all the attention.
crazy.
And you've only competed twice.
Yeah, like I said, it's just it's the height thing. I don't know really what. I think the thing that I also sometimes forget is I don't really see myself as that. I don't know how tall. I know I'm tall, and I know I'm big, etc. But I mean, I live in my body, so I don't.
Dude, that's such,
you know what I mean.
That could either be a very dumb statement or an incredibly profound one. I'm not sure
Yeah.
which one it is.
Maybe both. I don't know. No, but the thing is, so okay. Let me put it this way: I sometimes forget how tall and big I am.
Of course,
Because
yes.
but sometimes people will take photos. We're at a festival and we take a photo and I'm standing next to Fats, for example.
or Nicola.
And then, or Nicola.
Bro, those
and-
are my favorite pictures.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I'll realize, I'm like, oh, damn, okay, I am actually fucking like that tall. Like,
Some of my favorite pictures are you and Nicola.
Yes.
This is so funny, that discrepancy.
yeah, I love that
Same.
one photo where Nicola and I are standing and she's pointing up and I'm pointing down.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a very
My
cute
favorite
photo.
was the
fucking
Cape Town
awesome.
one where she
Oh,
went
yes,
in front
yeah,
of
the
you
photo
like
bomb. Yeah,
karate.
okay.
Oh, that was
I
brilliant.
agree. That was my favorite, yes.
Okay, but some of my favorite things about Hat is always the voice too. Hello, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Like that is so legendary that Pet and I greet each other like that.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, I'm glad I could start that for
Or
you.
like he'll message me
Yes.
and in all caps say, "Hey buddy," and then he'll put in brackets Gat voice.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But also when he sends me a voice note every now and again, it's also like, hello,
Yeah.
buddy.
I love that shit. Oh, it's amazing. So let's briefly keep this fitness related.
Yeah.
You were actually a skinny bitch growing up.
Very, very much. Well, primary school, I was actually a bit chubby. And then high school, but
I've never
need
seen.
pictures.
Well, I've definitely seen chubby cats. I've never seen young chubby
Yeah,
cats.
no, I was a bit, I won't say like chubby, but I had a bit of chubby cheeks, you know.
Okay.
And I was always a bit, yeah, cute.
Yes,
And I was
exactly.
always a little bit taller than the other kids, but not as freakishly tall as I am now. And then high school, about grade 8, grade 9, I just shot up. And it's almost like the body couldn't keep up. And then I was very skinny. I remember when I was in, what's standard 9s? Grade 11. When I was in grade 11, I was almost the height I am now. I would say around 6'4", thereabout.
Yeah.
I weighed 72 kilograms.
Holy shit!
So that's what, like 150 pounds.
Yeah.
Holy
Thereabout.
shit!
I was skinny. skinny.
That is emaciated.
Yeah, no, I really was, and I ate. It wasn't that I was trying to diet or anything. No, I was a skinny kid.
So what changed?
So, well, a few things is I just also got tired of being the skinny kid. But two main things happened. So my dad was a very big man, just naturally. He wasn't into the gym thing, but he was just a naturally big human being. And I'll always remember, like school when I had sports and so on, if my dad would come and watch, all the other kids would be like, yo, have you seen Gert's dad? Yo, Gert's dad. And I always thought to myself, even as a kid, I'm like, one day when I have a child, I want to be that.
Oh my God. Hey, please
Well,
can we
you
tell
definitely
everyone?
are, and your child is downstairs right now.
I was just going to say, he has a daughter. So now they have been rehearsing this bad boy scene for many years.
Yes.
Oh,
And
yeah, I
I
can't
pray
wait for
this
that.
poor boy's soul
I
when he
can't
comes to fetch Minka on a first date.
But it's going to be even better because we
of the
originally
whole
planned
body-
it was me and Gert.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now it's a
And
whole
now,
bodybuilding
and now,
group.
now it's like 7 fucking huge bodybuilders.
All asking this boy, do you like prison, bitch?
Great. Exactly.
That poor girl. And also, just by the way, his daughter is also tall. So his daughter is taller than me right now, and I'm like a reasonable height. I'm not a short girl.
Yeah.
And your sister is also quite a tall girl.
Yeah.
So like you guys in the genetics are just
Yeah, so
running tall.
my mom is 6'1", which is very tall for
Yeah,
a
for a
girl.
female.
And my sister is, I can't remember in feet now, but she's 178 centimeters.
That is my height.
Yeah, and we always used to tease my sister, she's the short shit in the family.
Oh my gosh, no.
But also, how has Minka just like blossomed?
No, she's so sweet, guys. I can't even tell you.
But
And I
she's
feel-
beautiful, and she's so. I don't know how you could have such a beautiful and sweet and nice and kind and intelligent daughter.
Excuse me, she's also a prankster. Have you seen her pranking
Yeah.
him?
Yeah, of course.
But I think I've told you this story where with my daughter, I asked her the one time, I'm like, so tell me, do you have daddy's looks and mommy's smarts, or do you have mommy's looks and daddy's smarts? And she looked at me, this is a few years ago, she looked at me, she's like, no, I think mommy, but I have daddy's jokes. And I was just like, I'll take it, that's fine, as long as you have something.
At least she gave you props for something.
Yes, yeah.
So wait. So how old was she when we met her? Must have been like
18, 5 years old.
5.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
born 2013.
I was gonna say like 5 or
Yeah,
6.
5,
That
yeah.
is insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. If you put it that way, that's crazy. to think,
Holy
yeah.
shit.
Wasn't even in school yet.
That is madness.
But my favorite memory of Minka will always be the Barbie. So
Wheelchair Barbie.
yeah,
Yes.
so basically it was Christmas and we were asking Kat, what does Minka want for Christmas? And he said a wheelchair Barbie. And we were like, Kat, you need to take your child for therapy because this is not normal.
Yeah, why
like,
does he
why
want a
does she want
wheelchair?
a wheelchair Barbie?
Yeah, it's like I could understand a Barbie, but why
Paraplegic
a wheelchair
Yeah.
one? Because I'm
Yeah.
assuming that the concept of that is that they made it for people that are in wheelchairs.
Inclusive, yeah.
Yeah, it's to be inclusive and say
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey, you know.
Well, my child's inclusive. What can I say?
No, but
No,
her
but she
reason-
gave us the best answer ever. What was it
I
again?
can't even
You remember
remember.
the exact words?
So we asked, like, why wheelchair Barbie? And she said, because Auntie Fats, actually, she called me Uncle Fats. She does that all the
She does.
time.
She mixes the two,
them,
yes.
So she said, Uncle Fats. And I was like, oh, yes. I want to be a nurse and I want to help people. And I felt like
I
such
forgot
an
about
asshole. I was
that.
like, oh, I need therapy, actually, because she just whooped
Yeah,
my ass.
you two
in
are
real
bad
life.
people.
I know, we're the ones. We're the ones.
Yeah. But to get back to your point of, like we said, to keep it kind of fitness related. So the one reason why I started the whole gym process was because, like I said, I wanted to be that guy.
You wanted that. You wanted to be
Yes.
that guy.
Okay, and I
Well
feel,
done.
And,
You
and,
achieved
yeah, and I
it.
feel like, check,
Yes.
I've got that checked. And then the other thing is actually, so I played rugby. And then,
Obviously.
and then after school, there was an under 19, under 21 division, and then senior division, which is an open division for any age.
Yeah.
And then when I was still under 19, the coaches came to me and they said they needed locks in the senior division.
Okay.
So can I go up? And I said, okay, fine. And I'll never forget, I got to the first practice, it was Monday fitness practice. And these men were running around.
Like
now, I'm like an
men.
18, 19-year-old kid.
Skinny.
And they've got beards and like it's
Bro,
men
you must have
running
gotten
around.
hammered.
No, the first year sucked.
You must
I'm
have
not
gotten
going to lie.
hammered.
The first year was rough. But as soon as I saw them, and they were all buff and big, and I told myself, I need to do something here. Like, I need to get into the gym. I need to
Yeah.
get bigger. And then eventually I fell in love with gym, and I kind of started off as powerlifting because I think like any 19-year-old is like
Just wanna
deadlift,
lift
bench,
heavy.
squats, just as heavy as possible. So I started with that, and then I got introduced to 2003. Yeah, that's how old I am. 2003. I got introduced to Ronnie Coleman by a friend. I still got the DVD. And I was
Tell
just
me
like,
you're old without telling me you're old.
yeah. And then I was like, I looked at Ronnie, and naively back then, I was like, I can be a Ronnie. Which, no.
Bro, speaking about that, do you remember like at round about that period of time, like early 2000s, obviously there wasn't a lot of like accessible information on the internet as of yet.
Yes, yeah.
So like magazines were still really
Yes,
popular.
yeah.
So like Flex magazine and
Yes,
Muscular Development
yeah.
magazine. Do you remember the advertisements that they at that point was allowed in those publications? Like the supplement companies that would make these fucking outrageous claims.
Yes, yeah.
And I would like go buy this product from BSN and this product from Muscle Tech because it guaranteed 683%
Yes.
more muscle growth
Yes.
versus whatever.
It was always the taste tablets as well. You get the taste tablets, and that boosts your testosterone with 7 million %. I can't even remember.
Or like fat burners,
Oh,
right?
yes, that-
I remember one advert very, very specifically because at that point in time I was fucking fat, and I wasn't just a little bit chubby. I was fat, like fat. But I
saw the photos.
Yeah, I was like dabbling. I'd just kind of gotten into training somewhat, and I'd like lost a little bit of weight. And I saw this advert in Flex or Muscular Development for Muscle Tech Hydroxycut Hardcore.
Okay.
And the before and after
Yes.
was this fucking obese guy. And then it was like 12 weeks later, and he was shredded and jacked and just like, you know, it was like accelerate fat loss and lipolysis by X% and whatever. And I was like, I'm gonna take this stuff and I'm gonna get shredded and I'm gonna look jacked. Now, in retrospect, the guy that they used for that was Johnny Jackson, who was
I remember,
an
yeah,
Olympian,
Mr.
an
Traps.
Olympian
Yes,
competitor
yeah.
who was also a competitive power lifter at the same time as being a
Yes, I
bodybuilder.
remember, yeah, I
So the
remember.
context is obviously like this dude is a professional bodybuilder that gets fat in the off season for his powerlifting, but because he has so much muscle and he's eating so much food, he can get lean very, very quickly,
And
he's
also
obviously
steroids.
on PEDs.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, that's yeah.
But as an uninformed like teenager or somebody in my early 20s, I was like, it's this supplement.
You know what is the
I'm so glad that that's not allowed anymore.
Yeah, but you know what is the product that always stuck with me is because the gym I used to train at, they had posters of, you know, that you remember that animal pack.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so they had a bunch of posters on the wall of all these animal stack guys, and I was like, oh, God, I need to try this. And I remember you still got like a bag of, I think it was like 8 tablets or something in
Still
a
get
bag.
it.
Yeah. And I remember back in the day, in my head, I was like, if I'm going to drink these, I'm going to be, you know, I'm going to bulk up and gain like 40 kilograms.
So let me just tell you the thing about Animal. First of all, for my US-based clients, I'm actually an Animal affiliate.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Animal, that product, Animal Pack, which is their flagship, hasn't really changed at all over the years.
Yes.
But when they advertised it, they never really made any outlandish claims. However, they used to have Animal Stack, which they
Yes.
still have,
Yeah.
and is now like a natural testosterone booster, like hormone support kind of thing. But back in the day, around about that time, like late 90s, early 2000s, Animal Stack was actually a pro hormone. Pro hormones were legal at that point.
Yes.
Like you could go into a supplement shop and buy them.
Yeah.
So that thing would have made you fucking jacked immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, my first experience with anabolics was going into a local supplement store, and you know I was asking the guy the questions, and he told me, you know, this is a test booster or whatever the case is. So I took it, and I remember like after 2 weeks, I was like looking in the mirror at the gym, and I was like, this can't, like, you look completely fucking different. And people started commenting to me like how different I looked, and I was like, holy shit, this stuff like really works.
Yes.
Only to obviously realize years later, and also like at the time when I started getting like weirdly sensitive nipples and stuff, that it was a pro hormone.
Yeah, okay.
It was a pro hormone, and obviously, legitimately much safer to just take actual anabolics.
Yeah, anabolics.
But those are illegal now. But Animal Stack used to be a pro hormone.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I just remember believing in my head naively. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to take these pills. I don't even know what they are, but I'm going to be jacked.
But you know what? You are so lucky that you didn't end up in the wrong hands, because we were having this conversation the other day, and I said to him, imagine somebody had given you growth hormone.
Yeah, no.
You would have been
Yeah.
fucking KO'd. Fucking KO'd.
Yeah, but I told you my personal life as well, because my dad had a growth hormone problem and issue.
Yes.
Growth hormone for me was always the one thing that I didn't want to tamper with.
Yeah.
Just me personally.
Yeah.
I have nothing against it, but it was
Yeah.
just because I've obviously have an overactive growth spurt.
Do you have very high levels of growth hormone though? Have you ever had that checked out?
I've been tested because, like I said, my dad had a problem with his growth. What do you call it? I can't remember.
Acromegaly.
That one.
Yes.
So say that 3 times fast.
Because you don't look like you do.
No,
you don't
so,
have acromegaly.
Yes, so my dad had it, and because my dad had it, my parents were afraid I may get it.
Yes.
But I did get tested, and fortunately everything is fine. It was my growth spurt. It was a little overactive just because of the height, but it stopped.
Yeah.
So I'm not, because my dad had things that never stopped growing. You know, whereas with me I've stopped. So
Yes.
I'm taller, but I've stopped.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yes.
If you have acromegaly, you'll see it in people's like hands and
Hands.
Yes,
faces
the
and
hands,
stuff like
because
that.
my dad was also the
Yeah.
hands, feet, face. Yes.
Yeah. So,
Fortunately not.
dude, the bodybuilding industry and the supplement game was a fucking wild west when we started that shit.
No, it was, but you know what frustrates me at times now? Because at my gym, there's a lot of kids training. Okay, I say kids, but I'm saying like 16, 17, 18 years old and
starters.
stuff. Yeah, starters.
Yeah.
But what sometimes frustrates me is I feel like when we were younger, when we were that age, we didn't have this wealth of knowledge. I would go to like a CNA and
Yeah.
pick up a Flex magazine and read.
Yes.
You know, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Whereas now there's so much in the butt, because back then also there wasn't YouTube and so on. There's so much information nowadays that's out there and it's available for these kids. But they still just, I can't tell you when I go to gym, the kids that come to me, I'm like I said, 17, 18, 19 years old. I don't know where they get the money from. And they're like, yo, I just started my first trend cycle. What do you think I should use with the trend cycle? And I was just like, just get off the trend first. Let's start there.
Do you not think that there's an argument to be made that too much information is actually worse than not enough information?
It could very well be. And the thing is also is false information, because there is
Yeah.
so much information out there. But you have, for example, pages like the Trend Twins and things like
Yes.
that, where I don't know if that's always the best information.
No, it's definitely not.
And I'm trying to be politically correct here.
Well, just say it, because I mean, to be honest with you, just from a coaching perspective, we see people all the time that are pros,
Yes.
that are inspirational to the younger generation. Like guys walk into the gym and they're like, I want to look like that guy.
Yes.
But that guy is a dummy and giving people
Yeah.
the wrong information
it's
on
exactly
things that
that.
he is not educated on
Yes.
himself, and he's not certified
Yeah.
on anything. So we see it all the time and we're just like, oh no.
I
And
think,
we-
I think
thing is-
to answer your question, there's too much wrong information out there.
yes.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is that I don't think that you can necessarily blame the public, especially if it's like a teenager or whatever, because if you know nothing, you need to know enough to be able to differentiate between good information and bad information.
Yes.
If you know nothing, sometimes the first thing that you see, the first channel that you subscribe to, whatever the case is, you're going to take on face value.
Yeah.
So you could be lucky, and maybe the first page that you subscribe to is RP, like Dr. Mike and,
Yeah,
and all
you
that
get-
kind of stuff,
yes.
or Physique Collective, or, definitely my channel. That's where you'll get
Yeah,
the
that's
best
where you get the
information.
best information.
The one.
So you could be lucky and subscribe to that, or you could subscribe to the Trend Twins.
Yes.
And no insult to them, and I don't think they would take it as an insult. Their channel isn't meant to be educational.
Yes.
It's meant
Yeah,
to be
it's more
entertainment.
entertaining, yes.
It's meant to be entertainment. But then teenagers take the stuff that they hear on that at face value, and they're like, oh, this is legit, this is the real way to be going about things, and it's definitely not.
I think the thing that just surprises me is how much old school is still going on today. Because when I speak to, like I said, these kids, it's still deadlift, bench press, trend. It's like, that's it. It's like, and it's like, that's a very old school mentality, because I get people almost weekly, how much do you bench? And then when I tell them, listen, I don't do barbell bench. Yeah, I don't do barbell bench. They look at me like I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, why don't you bench?
Yeah.
So it's just, I almost want to say like the Arnold Schwarzenegger days of training.
Well, Sam Sulek now.
Yeah,
it's Sam
but
Sulek.
how that's still what they're doing today. A lot of the youngsters do it that way.
Yeah.
The mentality.
What's interesting, Tien's actually brought this up to me the other day, is that there, in certain arenas, is this like pushback against science-based lifting.
Yes, I've seen that, yeah.
There's this pushback against it, like, and I on one hand, I like semi-understand it, because I'm sure that there are people out there that are science-based lifters that are kind of like paralysis analysis, where they're not actually getting their hands dirty and just training hard.
Yes.
But at the same time, whatever discoveries we find in bodybuilding or nutrition or whatever the case is, even if it's not found in a lab or a trial, a clinical trial, it's still science.
Yes.
It's still science. It's just you're learning something over time via your own experience.
Yes. But they advertise, if I look at the Instagram reels and so on, they advertise the older heavy lifting as it's more entertaining to watch, if I'm being honest. Because
it definitely is more entertaining to watch.
I would see a reel, and it would be Ronnie Coleman, for example, or whoever. I'm just using Ronnie as an example. But he's now...
It's a great example.
Yeah, he's now throwing weights around, and, he's like, woo, nothing but a peanut. And as Ronnie, the charisma.
Yeah, buddy.
Yes.
And then, the yeah, buddy, and all of it. And then the next half of the clip is like some moderately or beginning, bodybuilder type physique. And then he would do like a single arm type of exercise.
Yeah.
And it's
not exciting to watch.
It's not exciting to watch.
That's true. So, I mean, even back at that time, I was watching Ronnie Coleman and Branch Warren and Johnny Jackson.
Yes.
And then you would watch like Dexter Jackson.
Oh, yes.
His training was fucking boring as shit to watch.
Yeah. But very good, but boring. Yeah, I get you.
But it's Ronnie Coleman who can't walk anymore.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
No, true. Very
and also
true.
Dexter had, in my opinion, I think Ronnie Coleman is the greatest bodybuilder of all time, but for me, Dexter Jackson had a better physique.
Yeah, definitely. But Dexter is also the most winningest bodybuilder of all time.
Something like that,
yeah. Like, I think he's in general won the most shows, trophies, etc.
Oh, the most pro shows?
Yes, pro shows, yeah. Dexter.
I feel like that's something that I should know, but I don't.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, I'm not like super into watching bodybuilding. I think because my life is consumed by bodybuilding, the only stuff that I'm really concerned with is like the shows that my clients are competing in.
Which is understandable.
You know what I mean?
Yes, no, definitely.
Yeah, but there are times when I think that really doesn't apply. Like things like the Iron Generation, like when we were watching all of that stuff. Generation Iron, sorry. And like we watched the Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary that was like those things are really, you're really into that.
Oh no, of course, but I mean, what I'm talking about is bodybuilding as a sport. If I have free time on the weekend and I can watch a football game or a UFC card or a bodybuilding show, I would definitely watch the UFC card over, because if you're just inundated with the same thing and it's like it's your work, it's what you do in your spare time, it's also what you watch on TV, whatever, it can become stale, and I don't want it to become stale.
Yes.
And also, like, I feel like your ambitions have changed over time. So if I look at someone like Tiens and Pet, for example, they eat, sleep, train, talk about bodybuilding.
Yes.
Like they're watching all the podcasts. They are ingrained.
We'll be
in
out
it.
at a festival and these two are sitting there looking
Fuck, bro.
They're looking at the results of a bodybuilding show.
Yes.
So it's very different in the stage of where they are in their lives and their ambitions and what they want to achieve versus you now, where it's your job and you need a break mentally in your free time from that so that it's still enjoyable.
As invested as they are into competitive bodybuilding, I'm that much invested into the coaching side of things.
Yes, agreed.
So I will, for fucking 24 hours a day, watch podcasts and educational content on nutrition and PED deployments and training methodologies and stuff like that. I'm just not into watching the bodybuilding show.
Yes, yeah.
Unless my clients are
But
competing.
it's like I said, I think because those two have more aspirations to become higher level bodybuilders
Yes.
and so on, where that's not the path you've chosen.
Yeah.
You've chosen more the coaching path.
It was never the path. It was never the path that I wanted to go down.
But exactly. So that's why your interest is
I
more in
always
coaching.
only competed just to get the experience of what it's like to do it, so that I could coach
Yeah.
people.
And still did very well, though. Still did very well.
I did, and I'm glad that I did it. But I do wonder, like, people keep asking me, when are you going to compete again? When are you going to compete again? And I'm like, I legitimately cannot think of a reason for myself to do it, because even I had this thing in my head that my coaching career would get to the next level if I turned pro.
Yes.
Turning pro did absolutely nothing for my coaching career.
Yeah.
It did absolutely nothing. Turning people pro did.
Yeah, I get you.
You know,
Yes.
and studying and having the right knowledge and etc. did, but turning pro didn't do anything for me. So competing as a pro, I just feel like that's going to be months of me being tired and depleted and cranky and for what?
I see that. I can understand why you don't see competing as important now, or as relevant for you at the moment.
Yeah.
It's also a different phase of life, my love, because like I think he had to go through all of that. I mean, remember also when you were competing, if I think about your last show when you turned pro, his whole agenda was that he wanted to set the standard.
Yes,
This is how I expect you to act when you're in a competition. I want you to still have fun. I don't want you to not have a social life. I want you to be able to do all of these things. And he showed the way, right?
Lead by example.
He led by example. But then also like coming out of it, and I was like, I remember taking a deep breath and going, so when's your next bodybuilding show? Because I know the impact to our life.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know what that feels
It
like.
is a very drastic impact.
Yeah, and it's a big investment from a partnership perspective because I have to know what I'm in for the next 6 months of like how we manage everything around that. And I think like now for the first time I'm seeing you enjoy yourself a little bit more and really like, you know, Matt has always like tracked every single macro, every single... And after his last show, there was a small period of time where it was just like, I'm not going to F around. Like, I know what I need to do here. But yes, I'll have that piece of popcorn off your plate. So he was eating off my plate. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best day of my life. We get to share food.
What's this? You can have another popcorn. It's fine.
Yeah. So,
Well, if I just think bigger picture here, and everything that I'm trying to aim for over the course of the next 6 months to a year is like less stress, less tiredness, less fatigue, more time with you, more time with you, more time with our friends. Just contest prep is going to set that agenda. It's going to be counterproductive. It's going to set that agenda back tremendously. Like honestly, the last year, but specifically the last 3 or 4 months, has just really thrown things into stark contrast for me because, you know, I started this thing and I had that conversation with you. I've mentioned this conversation a million times, but it's particularly relevant because I had it with you. And I can remember where we were at our Paulshof house. And you said to me, it was when I just started with Pro Physique. I'd been coaching for ages, but not as a profession.
you remember that time when he said, I just want 15 clients.
Yeah, no,
I said that to him.
Yeah.
He actually asked me, like, where do you see this going? And I said, if I can have like 10 or 12 clients by the end of this year, and that was a discussion that we had in January, I'll be happy.
No, I remember this conversation.
You can't prepare. Nobody teaches you. You can learn about nutrition and you can learn about training, but nobody teaches you the logistics behind coaching. And then it accelerates so quickly, you can't control it. And the last year has like really shown me, okay, the only person that can control it is you. And if you don't control it, it's going to get unviable. It's just going to become unmanageable.
But remember, I had that also at your Paul's Off House. I had the conversation with you where I asked you, when is enough enough?
Yes.
And the only reason I asked that question is for yourself. Like, when is enough enough for you? You know what I mean?
Well, at the time when you asked that question, because that is a very, very good question. But at the time that you asked that question, I thought that you were framing it more in the sense of income, like money.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
In which case, it's never enough.
Yeah.
But it is too much when you're compromising on every other area in your
Yes.
life. So
But you see, that's what I meant. I didn't talk about the money
Yes.
factor. Yeah.
I was saying to Fats last night, like, because she was saying, you know, she doesn't want to focus on money so much anymore, income, whatever. And
Not money. Like, I obviously have a goal.
Yes,
I have a goal in terms of where I want to be.
Yeah.
But I don't want to exceed that because of the same conversation that we were having now recently about if your life is comfortable and you earn at a certain level, why would you put yourself in discomfort in
Yes.
all other areas of your life when you are financially stable? So that's what I meant. I'm not saying I don't want to chase money. I think money is important.
No,
but, like,
100%.
I don't
Yeah,
want to
yeah, but-
exceed a certain level. Like,
Yes.
I'm looking at him going through what he's been going through recently, and I'm like, fuck no.
But
I don't want that.
the point that I'm trying to make is like, I will always chase more money and more success, but just not in a way that diminishes my time or my
Yes.
quality of life.
Yes. But
No
I
way.
actually shared a reel on my story, Instagram story, I think last week, where a guy had that exact conversation where he said, as soon as you're making more money, but your quality of life goes down.
That's the reel that
Yes.
she's talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
I think it was
need-
Chris Williamson.
Yeah, I think so. I
Yeah.
can't remember. But, and that really stuck with me as well, because I'm like, yes, obviously we all want money and need money and want more. And yes, obviously. But it's also just your quality of life also becomes important. And I think as well at this age, like relationships with friendships, my own relationship with my daughter, all of this also becomes more important to some extent, you know?
Dude,
Or
it is
The most
a
important.
million fucking times more important.
yeah, exactly.
And the sad thing is that I always realized that. It's not like I didn't know that. I always knew that. It's just that I didn't know. I didn't expect the work business side of things to become so hectic so quickly. I couldn't plan for it.
Yes.
But now that I'm in it and I'm settled and I've had that realization, everything that I'm doing is about, okay, maintain and grow the level of service that I am already giving my clients.
Yes.
But don't try and grow your client base.
Yeah.
If anything, I want that to be cut
I
down.
get what you're saying.
I oscillate between like 110 to 140 people. I want it to be at like 60 or 70.
Yes.
60 or 70, but then those 60 or 70 get like the best of me.
Yeah. No,
So-
that makes sense. Yeah.
We were speaking last night. I've completely changed my schedule to like accommodate for this. So I only run my real focus check-in block from 5 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Oh, okay.
And over that time, like my check-ins are amazing.
Yes.
I have like all the energy and all the focus to give those people 100%.
Yes.
And then I realized, and I know I keep bringing him up, but from my mentorship conversations and calls with Joe, I realized that trying to repeat that later in the day was just giving those check-ins less value.
Yeah.
So rather wait a little bit longer for your response so that I can give you
Yeah.
100% of my energy.
I think what also happened in your case, though, is your momentum, you got momentum so quickly that sometimes I think when you're in that situation, it's difficult to slow down that train once you're there. Once you have this momentum, it's like, how do you get to a point where, okay, I have to pull back a bit?
And how do you pull
Yeah,
back?
and how
is
do you
the-
pull,
the
how
larger
do you put the
question.
brakes on just a
Yeah.
little without
Yeah.
stopping the train?
Yeah.
You know?
Yes,
Exactly.
That was the exact scenario.
But I think you have to go through burnout at least once in your life to experience it, to know, and then go, okay, this is not the place that I want to be,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Because like I feel, even when I look at you, Gert, you have the same working styles in terms of your personality. Like Gert says, we haven't told anyone what he does yet, right? But he is very like laser focused in on what he's and committed to what he's doing. So whatever endeavor he's had, you've always had a very large goal. And like I'm thinking about it now while we're speaking and going, I know what his legacy is. Like everybody knows what Matt's legacy is. We know what he wants to achieve. But what is yours? Because you're a very interesting character for me. I've always thought that, like I said in the beginning, you're very multi-layered. What does that look like for you? Because I know how important your daughter is.
Okay, so it's a tricky one because it is. Okay, let me start it this way. I don't feel I'm as money driven as a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I don't like. I want money. I work hard for it.
I know you camp, and I'm a bougie bitch. Let's just put it like that. I know the difference. Yeah. So don't get me wrong. I don't say I don't want money. Obviously, I want money, but I think I'm getting to a point now where. Yes, there's still definitely there's a lot of goals, especially work related, that I still want to achieve. Definitely. And like I said, a lot of it starting next year as well. So there's a lot of work-wise, career-wise that I still want to achieve. But I also want to find a balance because, again, maybe it came with age. But I thought the other day, I'm like, I have 20, 30 years left on this life, of this life. So I also want to, how can I put this? In fact, I just want to, the day I retire, whenever that is, like I just want to retire comfortably. And that to me is not worrying about money, if that makes sense. I don't want to be at a point where I want to be at a point where I don't worry about money in the sense that if, like I said, my daughter wants something, just, you don't even think about it, just grab it. Just, so I don't know if I'm answering your question. Well, I want to know, I'm more interested to know, like, what is the retirement age? Like, I want to know how long this train goes for because we're on it all the way to the end. So what does that look like?
Well, I looked at it I want to see if I can do it around about 55, get the retirement.
God, you're close. You're 51 this year. No, I'm just kidding, everyone. It's 41. It's
41. 51, 4 years away.
41.
That I just want to retire comfortable and happy with my people.
I love that.
For some reason in my head, I don't see you as somebody that's going to retire.
Yeah.
I always feel like you're going to be doing something.
I will definitely keep busy.
Yeah.
I think when I talk about retire, I mean working because you have to work, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I don't want to do that. But I will definitely keep busy. I can't just sit at home and do nothing. Then it's too boring.
Like I've always, and I mean, I remember even thinking this when I was like a kid and then early teens or whatever. Every time I saw a family member or, a family friend go into retirement, it was always this big thing, I'm going to retire. And I always just saw their lives deteriorate.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes.
And then I see somebody like my dad who is like semi-retired, but constantly still working, writing books, lecturing, doing this, doing that. I'm like, that's what I see. I never see just retirement. I don't know what the fuck I would do.
Yeah.
Think about it. I mean, I can't, and I think you've kind of finally accepted this about my personality. As long as
I've reminded you this about your personality. What are you
as long as it's
about?
not always work related. I think the issue is like, don't always find work to do.
Well,
but I can't, like on a Saturday, I can't just laze around the whole day. I need to at least have a few hours where I'm actively doing something that feels like it's productive.
Okay.
Yeah.
It may not be work, but just something that feels like it's productive.
Yes.
Like whether it's a hobby or something like that, I need to do something.
So I think that's kind of what retirement looks like for me.
Yeah.
It's like I'll still keep busy, but like I said, I just don't want to have to work, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think that the rest I'll figure out. The rest I'll figure out when I get there.
I'm interested to see what it looks like for all of us.
Well, I was just thinking that because I was like, I want to buy my wedding suit before you retire. Okay, so first of all, you need a rush on that. I told you my suit is Louis Vuitton, sweetheart, from Paris. Like we are going the whole way. But I think it's going to be very interesting because we've got such a beautiful dynamic of people that even at retirement, I'm not sure that people will slow. When I say slow down, I mean not.
When
progress.
we retire, some
We're
of our friends
still-
will be graduating high school.
No, but I think in a lot of ways, because we also have younger friends and so on. It like I'll take like fashion for example. There's some fashion items of mine that I've changed just because of the way Pet and Tiens and Val's dresses.
Yes.
And
because,
Takara's influence.
yeah. It's just like okay. I see. I've lost touch with what the kids are doing nowadays, and then they'll do something. I'm like, I like that.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
I've noticed that your sense of style has, I don't want to say, well, it has improved, definitely, but it's also just like, it's become a lot more diverse.
Yes, yeah.
As has mine.
Yeah.
And I credit TK for that. Dude, so literally the one time I joked with TK and I said to her, because I think she took some of the other guys like to Cotton On and did like, shop for them and
Okay,
whatever.
yeah.
And I made a joke with her and I said, well, you didn't take me and you didn't even offer. So like, I expect you to create a mood board for me with like 10 different outfit choices of what you think I'll look good in, but that I wouldn't pick out for myself.
Okay.
And I was joking. Dude, 2 days later, she sent me a fucking mood board.
In PDF
with like,
format.
With like 10 to 12 different outfits of all this kind of stuff.
Okay, no, but now I want to call out TK. I'm looking in the camera. TK, I'm calling you out. I
Oh,
want
they
the
don't
same
have
thing.
sizes that fit you,
But
bro.
I was just about to say, find clothes that fit me. That would help.
That is such. I can't imagine that challenge of like having to go to the big and tall store, which is a real thing
Yeah.
for you.
No. We were actually having this conversation again at the wedding the other day because I had a short sleeve buttoned up
Yes.
shirt. And a lot of them was like, don't you have a long sleeve shirt? I'm like, I tried to find one, but it's a mission. Because the thing is, I have to, essentially, when it comes to suits, formal wear, let's say formal wear, I have to get
Bro, it
things.
must be impossible.
Yeah, I have to get things tailor-made.
Yes.
Because as soon as something is long, it's very wide around the midsection. And if it's shorter or tighter around the midsection, it's too short.
Oh, listen, even I have that problem.
Yeah.
And
so
also
it's
your shoes. Remember when Kat needs
shoes
to buy
are-
shoes?
shoes
you
are
have to, like,
fucking-
find.
just anything that's shoes and anything that's long.
Wait. What is your shoe size? Let us begin
It's
there.
a US or UK.
Guys, I do
30.
not want
Okay.
inappropriate comments on my YouTube
wait,
channel.
I just want to say, I want to tell the story about the feet.
Okay.
Okay. So we get some, I mean, obviously on Instagram, we always get weird requests from people, but I think for us, because we're coupled, we don't get weird sexual.
I don't
inappropriate
really
stuff.
get that. I mean, sometimes if you go into like the requests inbox and then go to hidden whatever, then
Oh,
you find
yes.
some weird shit.
You find some gems there.
You find some gems there, but like in my typical inbox, nothing inappropriate.
Okay, so imagine living the life of Gat where people have inboxed him to ask him for pictures of his feet or for his undies. They've asked you for your undies
Yeah,
before.
somebody wanted me to send my underwear to him in London. I was like, oh.
Delightful.
I mean, it's and you have a quite a substantial gay following, my friend.
yeah, I know.
You're attractive. You're attractive
Thanks.
to the communities, you know. So it's a very interesting thing. Like every time I hear some of these conversations, I'm just like, who has the balls to inbox somebody and ask for pictures of their feet?
Well, it's dudes, obviously.
Yeah.
Because dudes would do that to girls, so gay dudes would do that to other dudes.
Yeah.
It's not a sexual orientation thing. It's just a guy thing. Guys are just
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah,
Guys.
Guys are just gross.
Cool. But I always make this joke as well because sometimes people ask me, "Yo, you probably get a lot of attention from girls or women," and I'm like, "Nope." But men, a lot.
But this is the thing about training too. People think that they're going to train and they're going to go to the gym and all the chicks are going to
all
notice
the girls are going to come. No.
Meantime, as guys walking past you going, nice bicep.
Yeah, it's always the guys coming.
The thing, though, correct me if I'm wrong here. I mean, you would probably know best, being a female, but I don't think it's that you get less attention from women. I just think it's that guys are more overt.
Yeah, no,
Forward, yes,
definitely.
forward.
Guys are more in your
Yes,
face.
yes.
But
Okay.
it also does make me realize how shit it must be to be a female.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, because like.
You-
Because
were
guys
witness the
are
other
like
day.
yeah,
guys
I understand from the female's perspective.
We were
guys can be like aggressive. It's gross.
They're forward. Like,
Yes, tell that story.
So we were at Truth and I was dancing against the wall at the back. And I just want to say, if you see me in public and I'm surrounded by beasts like this, I don't think it's a very wise thing if you're a male to approach me. I'm just going to put that out there. So I was dancing and this guy walked past and Hat was next to me
This
here
is
and
so
Matt was
funny.
in front of me there. And he cut between...
Guys fucking brave as shit.
He's brave as shit. And he went, "Good evening, ladies," or "Hello, ladies." And I just looked at him and I went, "Don't speak to me." And Gert was standing here next to me and he's like, Did you just say that to that guy? And I'm like, yes, but he also tried his luck very
So I
inappropriately.
went over. I was just like, "What did the guy want?" And then you said he just wanted to chat or whatever. But I laughed so much because I saw the whole "don't speak to me," and it was so funny because that guy turned around right there, turned around, walked away. I was like, it was hilarious.
I love that you did that. I wish that I had seen it.
Yeah, because Matt was dancing and doing this, okay, and he missed everything, and I'm just like,
wasn't it Carl that was on?
It was when Carl was
See,
on.
Carl
you were at the back. Yes,
Carl
it was
is
Carl,
so
yes.
good that I missed that whole experience.
You missed a guy
No,
hitting on your wife.
it was the best because I just saw the guy walking up and he said something to Fats and I just saw her reaction. But what made me giggle is the way the guy was just like, "Okay, nope." He just turned around and walked away. It's
I felt like he got swallowed into the earth in that moment because I didn't even see him in my peripheral passing me. I was like, "Oh, okay."
No, that was.
You know
so
who also
funny.
gives some good bats is Hanley.
Oh yeah.
I've seen Hun give some good bats. Yeah. Woo, she fucking shuts guys down.
I've seen her
she
just
does.
like even turn her back and be like, "Mm-mm."
But I've seen Hanley as well, where a guy would walk up and she just goes,
No.
yeah, it's like,
No.
I love it.
and then the guy just also walks off. I'm like, okay, there we go.
I love it. But I like that interaction the most because I'm working on raising my boundaries.
Yes,
and I was
yes.
like, I did it and nobody saw it.
I saw it, Fats.
Nobody saw
I got
it.
you. It was so good.
I don't know if you are aware of this, but at Truth, at the end of the year in December, James Hype is coming here.
Oh no.
Yes, we have already
wow.
bought tickets.
Already bought tickets.
Oh, now you tell me.
Well,
Good friends.
now you know.
Yeah,
no,
because he was coming for that Rage festival or whatever.
The one
And then I
that's
was like,
called,
"Oh shit, I'm gonna buy
Matric back.
tickets." And then
yeah.
and then TK made some comments about it being kids, and I thought she was just being TK.
Yes.
But it turns out that it's like the Rage Festival is for like under 21s or something.
Oh,
So you
okay.
can't
I didn't even
go
know.
if
Yeah.
you're over 21. So then we were blowing up his social media. Every post that they made about it, we were like,
Yes, yes.
you know, play another show in South Africa, play another show in South
yeah.
and then
For the older
now they
kids.
are.
When
Yes.
is this more or less? Remember which month?
I'll
December.
check. I'll check my inbox. Yeah.
I think it's December because it's Matric back. So
Yeah.
it's
Okay, cool.
definitely
Okay, yeah, no,
somewhere like mid to late December or early December, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, something like that.
At Truth, you said.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
gonna be
Cash.
I enjoyed Truth. It was
so
only my second time there. The first time I went to Truth, I was like, I don't know, it seems a bit dodgy. Second time was great.
But
That's
it's
my
since
first
since the renovation, right?
Yes, since the renovation. Yeah, I went there once before, or they were kind of in a renovation process.
Okay.
I went there, and then I can't even remember the year. And then now just after renovations.
Well, I fucking loved it.
No, I also had a good time.
I loved it. It was out of everything that we've done since Secrets of Summer, which was amazing. But
Yeah.
everything that we've done since then, that Night of Truth was the best.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
that
I
was
agree.
fucking
It was
absolutely awesome.
Definitely up there.
Absolutely awesome. Yeah. So we've been going for like an hour and a half.
I think that's
And I'm hungry. I'm hungry as shit. And
I can
also,
also
we're going to
eat.
get this guy back on. So, number one, subscribe to the channel because you get to see freaks of nature like this, which you don't get to see.
You're welcome.
You don't get to see any other time. Follow him on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
The biggest G. But it's a hassle because I got so frustrated because I would type in the biggest G, but then every time I type it in, it was taken by someone else.
Yeah.
And then I would go and click on who took the biggest G, and it's like this scrawny guy, and I'm like, you're not the biggest G, I'm the biggest G. So
you are indeed the biggest
yeah,
G.
so it's the full stop biggest underscore G.
I'll put it.
go.
I'll put it up
Yeah,
on the.
put
I'll
a-
put it up on the screen, and I'll link it in the description and stuff.
Put a
And
link come
please
with
don't
it.
ask him for feet pics or underwear pics. It's
Yes,
not
yeah,
cool,
please.
guys.
You can do it.
We're-
Just don't do it via my YouTube channel. Just go to his Instagram
No,
page and
just don't do it.
just don't do it. Yeah, but comment below what you think he does. At least whoever gets closest, I'll arrange a Heavy Nation supplement hamper for whoever gets closest. But I don't think anybody's gonna get close.
No.
I don't think anybody's gonna get close.
And
Let's
no
see.
cheating. Don't ask our friends. That's rude.
Yeah,
Indeed.
Yeah. And our friends don't give any tips.
Yes.
Yes.
But thanks for joining us, brother.
thank you for having
was
me.
awesome, and we definitely have to do this more frequently.
Yeah.
And we definitely have to do it with pets because that vibe
Yes.
will be
Yes, our pet
will be
would be a
awesome.
great
There
fun.
should be wine, I believe. at least one time. There should be wine.
You want to do wine?
Why? There should be wine.
Why not? I mean,
You can have a glass of red
kind
wine.
of a fitness
glass.
podcast, but like resveratrol and all that shit, you know? It's healthy.
Well, you know.
Antioxidants.
All the things.
Science.
All the
Science.
Science.
All the things. Yeah.
Why are you drinking wine? It's healthy science.
Yeah,
Yeah,
science.
science.
All right. On that note, we're gonna sign off and go eat.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thank you.
Love you both.
guys.
Bye.